Okay, let's get started. Okay, so welcome everyone. Today is the last idea talks for this quarter. Okay, I hope everyone is doing well so far. I know a lot of remote teaching and everything is different. Okay, but I believe research, at least part of the research activities are still going on. For example, you are probably still writing papers and then submitting papers and revising your papers, and then get papers either declined or accepted. But I hope more of the papers are getting accepted instead of declined. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, your paper will publish somewhere. Okay. So today I'm going to bring you guys to a short journey about the publication process. Many of you might already have been very successful in publishing papers, but in case for some next senior or junior graduate students, I hope we can provide some useful information to for you to better understand how to get a paper prepared, how to get a paper published. Okay, so let's get started. The mouse, okay. Okay, so why do we need to publish? Okay, why do we need to write papers, and how do you get that? Okay, and the first step, okay, is probably when your advisor, when you try to write papers and try to get your results wrapped up, okay, you probably feel some internal resistance, okay, from yourself, from your brain, from your mind, okay. There's a fear, okay, for everyone, okay, for all the writers, but not only for students, so graduate students, for postdocs, yeah, sometimes for even for us, okay, because we need so much time, okay. And we worry about the paper might not be good enough, the work is not good enough, and people might not read it, right? So far the result is not decent, it's not the best so far, and might not worth publishing at this moment. So there are a lot of reasons, okay? So I just said a few, okay, from a writer, okay? It seems to be a popular writer on the internet. But however, if we really talk about the resistance, okay, from ourselves in writing paper is actually, from what I observed, for at least for many of my students, okay, is because writing paper, okay, takes so much time, okay, it's so hard, okay, it's so hard, it takes so much time, okay, it's sometimes it's a headache. Yeah, students, maybe some of you guys, okay, at least many of my students, they work very hard, they do a lot of experiments, they generate a lot of results, but when I ask them, okay, to write a paper, okay, and send to me, and then the result is like, it becomes so long, okay, endless, okay, many cases, okay, that's true, because it takes so much time to write a paper, and it's very hard, okay, it's common, it's just common, it's just the way, okay, but we have to do that, okay. Why do we need to publish, okay? So I think in general, we should publish everything we have done, okay? We should publish all the work we have produced, okay? So yeah, it's at least it's actually can help you, okay? Teach yourself, okay? You get a habit of beating your fear, right? You publish more, you get more confidence, right? When you produce something, I mean, you publish, I mean, timely, okay? So that the people in your field can know you, can know your results, and then at the same time, the side effects, hopefully, can get you famous, okay? At least help you, okay, in your career development, okay? So it's really a habit that you are going to cultivate. But this is a lot of long-term, okay, long-term impact. The significance is definitely there, you can imagine, right? But we talk about the short-term, okay, the short-term impact, okay, the very simple reason, okay, and the most important reason so far, okay, to publish a paper, okay, is because, okay, a paper or papers are the most important product of your research, okay? Particularly as graduate student, as postdoc, right? If you don't have paper, I mean, that's not a very successful PhD, right? I mean, so that's a single important reason. If you don't want to think about long-term plan, okay, long-term development for your own career, for your capability, for your skills, but this is something you have to realize because this is the most important product of your research, of your 5 years, 6 years research. Okay, so we have to publish papers. Okay. So what is a scientific paper? Okay, so you might think we report results, right? We get some figures, we put some background, and then we tell people, yeah, this is what we're doing, this is what we get, and then this is so nice, it's so important. People need to buy it, right? People need to buy it. You need to write good papers, okay? So, so you probably know, maybe some of you know George Whiteside, okay? He's very, very famous professor in Harvard University, okay? Published more than 1,000 papers so far and trained maybe 200 or 300 graduate student postdocs. Many of them have been successful professors who also trained maybe hundreds of graduate student postdocs, okay? So it's a very important figure in the history of chemistry, okay? So in his 2004 paper, okay, there's a paper published in Advanced Materials, although it's technique journal, but he contributed to a paper, essay actually, talking about how to write a paper, okay? So I would also suggest you guys to go to read the entire paper, okay? It will help you, okay? But what I want to bring here, okay, just a few sentences, okay? So the paper, what is a paper, okay? So the paper, okay, I want to basically highlight a few sentences, okay? So paper is organized, okay? It's organized description of hypothesis, data, okay, conclusion, okay, and intended to instruct reader, okay? So it's a central part, okay, it's a central part of a research, very important. It's a central part of a research. Everything has to end it, okay, has to end to a paper, okay? So very importantly also, a paper is not an archive, okay, for sorting, okay, for storing complete research program, okay? It's more, okay, it's more about planning, thinking, okay, and the development, as well as organizing, okay? So the entire process is not just about writing, okay? It's about hypothesis, okay? It's about planning, it's about organizing, and it's about thinking, okay? It's not only a writing training, it's also a brain training process, okay? So help you grow not only in your experimental skills, but also in your thinking, in your mental, okay? So that is something we have to realize, okay? The paper is not just writing, okay? It's about a lot of things, okay? It's about a lot of things, okay? So how to publish in scholarly journals, okay? So of course, okay, everyone has, I believe, has some dream, have some target, right? So everyone wants to publish in high impact journals, good journals. For example, Science, Nature. I mean, so far I didn't publish in any of this, okay, any of this, unfortunate, okay? I have, yeah, some work in this smaller journal, okay? But it's still a dream, okay? Everyone wants to publish in good journals, okay? But what is a good journal and where should we publish, okay? But there's so many journals, how do you decide, right? Of course, if you want to publish in top journal like Science or Nature, but that doesn't mean your work, right? We end up there. We can have a dream, we can have a target, okay? So it's very important. We need to realize, okay, what kind of content it is, okay? What kind of article you should submit, okay? What kind of journal you should go to. So if you look at different type of research articles, okay? So there are different ways to publish. You don't have to publish results, okay? You can just publish a review paper, okay? Okay, you can just publish methods, okay? So sometimes you can publish short articles and long articles, okay? So overall, there are 4 different types of articles, okay? So we can publish in letters, rapid or short communications, okay? So for many cases, if you feel your research is really urgent and you feel very harsh competition in your field, you know a lot of people working in the exactly same idea or same direction. You don't want to lose the opportunity to be the first or to be the first few, okay, to publish such results. Then you can publish rapid or short communication. So you don't have to wait until you finish all the control experiment, understand all the mechanisms, and then complete an entire set of experiment and data. You can publish a few important results to show the promise, okay, and publish them in a short communication or letter, okay. So sometimes maybe your advisors, maybe for students, it's really rare, but for advice for professors, we get invitation to write review papers or perspective papers to summarize the recent development in the field for a specific topic, okay, without including any new data, okay. You just survey the literature and find the topic, find direction, and summarize the most important recent result in the field to provide an overview, okay. That can be a review paper. But sometimes you can also do a perspective paper by adding some of your own thoughts, okay. You provide your personal opinion based on a review, so that you wanted to, or you hope the field to think about future directions in a way that you are hoping, okay. So this review paper perspective. Also, full article that is based on very comprehensive, okay, also contains significant data, a lot of detailed experiments, development, and results, okay. So this is an extension of short communication or letter, okay. So sometimes in some journals, they publish methods. For example, there's a journal called Nature Methods. They only publish methods, and they also Nature Protocols. They only publish protocols, the ways how you run specific experiments. They are very often in biological field, okay? So this type of micro article formats, personally, I never did that, but more for bio fields, biochemistry, bioengineering, okay? So find the right journal is very important, okay? So when you consider the type of articles you want to publish, as we just pointed out, you want to do a short communication, a letter, or do a full paper, okay? Or if it is a review, it's going to be very clear, right? So more often we are debating to select a letter format or a full-length paper format, okay? Depends on how much data you have and how urgent you are, okay? You are going to publish, okay? So sometimes you want to check your article to determine the format. So this shows the indication, the possible journals you want to submit, right? So of course, in your specific field, you might be already very familiar with the journal's aims and the scope. So you know, I'm sure you know some basic idea of how to pick journal in your field. So also when you find a journal you want to decide, or you want to look the guidance for authors. So some journal, they have very picky style, very picky format, which probably prevent you from publishing to that journal. So this is a good reason. So sometimes there are some journals that provide a more flexible format. So this is also something we should consider. Some journal is only invitation, okay? It's only by invitation. So we should definitely be aware of that, so you don't waste your time and prepare your manuscript according to that journal, and it turns out you cannot submit because you don't have an invitation, okay? So I had something very recently happened, but I realized later on I made to get an invitation from the editor, okay? So this happens, okay? So sometimes, for example, you are in your 5th year and you don't want to, you don't have the bandwidth to wait for 6 to 12 months to have your paper published. So you want to think what kind of journal is more appropriate. For example, in our field, there are some journals, they have the reputation to be more rapidly handling manuscripts. So sometimes we send them to that kind of journal so that our results, our recent discovery can be published more rapidly, okay? Timeline is also important. So sometimes you also, maybe your advisor has a more concern. You want to have your paper, your result to be open to the entire world, because that is the core value of scientific research, right, of science. Okay, so you want to your result to be accessible to everyone in every corner of the planet. Okay, but some journal is not friendly because they charge us so much. Okay, they charge us to get open access, but again, they also charge library to publish and to subscribe their journals. So which seems to be ridiculous. Okay, but yeah, there are a lot of debates, yeah, in this matter. Okay, but not personal concern for this moment. Okay, so there's a very important concern in terms of ethics, is that you can only submit your article or your manuscript to one journal at one time. Okay, this is very important. If you have gone through any submission process, you will know that in any submission portal, you will be asked one question. Okay, are you submitting your manuscript only to our journal? You have to choose yes. Otherwise, you cannot move to the next step. Okay, next step. Okay, so that's important. Okay, so so that is some consideration, but most important, I would say for us, okay, to consider in terms of the matrix, okay, to select the journal is that number one, the speed, right? So you don't want to wait until for like 6 months, well, or 12 months to publish results, and you have to graduate in such a maybe in a limited time. Okay, the impact is also important, right? So we want to publish in a high impact journal, but high impact does not mean high impact factor. Okay, they are not the same. Okay, sometimes they have very strong correlation, sometimes they don't, right? Different field has different impact factor. For mathematics, right? For condensed physics, or maybe for astrophysics, right? That's different from material science, from nanotechnology, right? From bioscience, that's different. But you want to look, okay, what is the readership, right? So what is the overall citation number for the entire year for this journal, right? How many papers they publish a year, right? Publishing capacity, right? So even they publish maybe like 10,000 papers a year, and then they still have impact factor 5 or 6, that must be a very, very good journal, right? Very high impact journal, because the entire field is choosing this journal. That means the entire field, okay, is reading this journal, right? So that's a high impact journal, okay? It's a well-organized journal, okay? So the reach is also important. For example, in the chemistry field, an American scientist may prefer to publish more often in ACS journal, right? In Europe, a European scientists may choose to publish in Wiley, right? So that makes sense. Also because your advisors might have a better connection to the journal editors, right? So they know a lot of background information about the scope, about the preference, about the specific requirement of the journal. So the reach is also important. So overall, the three metrics are very important. Okay, very important. So talking about the open access. Okay, so what I just mentioned is the gold open access. Okay, so in order to have your paper, have your result to be open to everyone in the planet, sometimes you have to pay a lot of access fees for the journal. Okay, of course the journal cover this all the labor work to release the journal, release your article to the internet, but you have to pay a lot of money. Okay, so traditionally for what we are doing for most journals is that publishing is free, but our university library has to pay a lot of money, millions of dollars, to access to the library, to the journal. Okay, so that scientists, okay, professors, students in our campus can have access. Okay, but that's only limited to the subscription. Okay, anyone who is outside of campus don't have access. They call it green open access and the gold open access. Okay, so for example, if we publish in this journal, so we need to pay about professors, okay, PIs, need to pay more than $5,000 to publish one paper in this journal. Okay, so this journal has all the article to be open access to everybody in this world. Okay, in this world, only if you have an internet. Okay, it's very expensive. Okay, but people still do that because it's still pretty decent journal, and make it open access will help you to promote your work if we have the budget to do that. Okay, but we don't do that very often because it's really expensive. Okay, so you probably hear from our campus news or internet news that Intel UC is has been doing a long-term negotiation with as well, which is a giant publisher, right? So to renew the contract in terms of getting the access and getting the paper, because they charge us too much. I think the negotiation has broken, and I'm not sure what is timeline to resume, and we will see. We will see. The only problem is that they charge us so much, and they charge both ways, so which seems to be ridiculous and does not follow the philosophy of our scientific research, particularly for UCs. Okay, so we will hear more update from the campus, from EVC's office, from Neighboring. Okay. Okay, so talk about real business. Okay, so we know a lot of things, basic principles to select a journal, to identify what kind of articles we're going to write. Okay, now how to prepare your journal, prepare your manuscript. Okay, you might wonder how to start and what to start and when to start, right? So how do you prepare your journal, right? So this is something always, okay, sometimes when you think, okay, in order to identify a journal to publish a manuscript, you want to think about, okay, how to do that, right? What is the best way to help yourself to overcome your resistance or your resistance, okay? So maybe not helpful, but I believe sometimes very helpful for my students, okay? So when do you start? So as often I ask, okay, I ask everyone of my lab, okay, to start thinking about, preparing your manuscripts at the very beginning of your experiment, even at the first experiment. Because as we said, publishing a paper is about testifying your hypothesis. It's about planning, right? It's about thinking. It's about development. It's about organization. So the entire journey starts from your first experiment. You have to plan, right? So you can change all the time. You can slightly modify all the time, very often, okay? But you want to plan at the very beginning, because if you don't plan at the beginning, does that still mean plan, right? It's not a plan, right? Start early. Don't wait until the end. Because if you ask yourself, okay, if I ask my students, if I check their weekly report, I can tell, right? There's no end story. After you finish this project, you're going to have a continued project. You're going to have another project, okay? You're going to have more and more ideas, with more branches, starting from this core idea, starting from this first experiment, right? So it's very likely the end may never come, may never arrive, okay? So the best time to start to prepare your manuscript is at the beginning, is at the very first experiment, at least to think, to plan, okay? So this is about when, okay? When you should start. You probably don't have to write anything, but you should plan in your mind, okay? Have very clear direction, have a very clear framework to think about. If you finish your experiment, what kind of paper is going to look like, okay? Plan early, okay? Start early. So how to start? Okay, so this is very simple. You don't have to do a lot of things at the beginning when you start, but you can start something on the paper, okay? So I want to point out, okay, if your paper, if your results do not show on the paper, that does not exist, okay? Everything, okay, has to show on the paper, otherwise that doesn't exist, okay? So you start from outline, you start from write something, okay? So from outline, you write the title, authors, Okay, don't do abstract. You can leave, okay, you know you're going to have abstract, but leave as abstract over there. And later on, when you complete your entire story, come back to abstract, okay? You can write introduction, okay? Title, because title will contain a few important words, which is going to your whole story, right? It's going to reflect your entire story, right? So authors, of course, you want to think about who is going to be the most important contributors to this work, right? Introduction, which is something I want to talk about more, okay? So this is also nearly for every paper I revise for my students, no matter it's 10 times, 20 times, or 30 times. Sometimes I revise more than 30 times, okay? The most time consuming, okay, part is introduction, okay? It's introduction. That's the most time consuming part, okay? So I want to talk about a little bit more on introduction, okay? So again, you can start from thinking to write a very brief outline. You can always tune the content, tune the structure, okay? Tune the format. You can have your own flexibility, but, okay? But you want to have something on the paper for you, okay? For your mind, for your brain to follow, okay? And at least you have something black, okay, on your white paper, okay? That's very important, okay? In an advanced version of an outline, you can always include more sections using, for example, experimental sections, using paragraph subheadings, okay? And indicate more information you want to include, okay? So using outline, that can be used, okay, to guide your design, to get experiment planning, okay, to guide your next stage of research. That's very important, okay? One outline probably will help you to develop a few new stories, okay? But you can basically follow your idea, follow your outline, okay? So that you can cut, you can crop, or you can add more content, okay? To make your entire hypothesis, entire story more coherent, more consistent, then turn them into a complete paper, complete manuscript. Okay, so introduction, okay. So how to prepare introduction? Okay, so the very important content, okay, that you should do in your introduction is to state concisely, okay, at least in your outline stage, okay, very concisely, okay, the objective of the work, and they indicate why this objective is important, okay. So there are a few key elements, okay, key elements. It's very simple and makes perfect sense, okay. If you read papers, read journal articles, I think most of papers will follow, okay, will follow this guideline that includes the following key elements. Number one, objective of the work. Number one is that maybe the very first sentence, okay, in this work, we want to do this because this is important, right? So you want to do this, that is your objective, right? We want to develop the best materials in this world, okay? This is because, right? Second, justification, right? This is, everyone needs to use that, right? Without light, without this material, we cannot work, right? We cannot live, right? Like cell phone, right? So why this work is important, right? Very important. This is the motivation, right? Objective plus justification. Of course, not only you are smart, right? A lot of smart people working in this field. So you want to tell a little bit about background, right? So who else, especially those important figures, important people, right? Those big names, okay, they might have contributed a lot, but still face problem, right? So you want to introduce the background and tell people who else has done and what they have done, right? And how they did this, right? And sometimes you also want to include, if you have already published some work before, and this is a further development, you want to include your previous work and show the background information from your own library, okay, from your own work, okay? And then you want to provide a guidance, okay? What is important? What is the key information, right? What is the highlight in this work, right? And then by doing this, you show them what is the most creative or innovation, right? Innovative strategy you are using, okay? Or you highlight the most important results. For example, my performance or your performance is 10 times better than the state of art. You will definitely highlight. Or you want to tell the reader, okay, this is a paradigm shift. This is a fundamentally challenging, okay, you are challenging the fundamental knowledge in a field, right? So this is something you feel is really, really the most important information you want to guide readers. You want to put that rendered very clearly, right? And then you summarize, briefly summarize, okay? So what the readers should expect as a conclusion, right? Summarize important results, right? So as part of your conclusion, right? So add a few, 1 or 2 sentences, right? To guide, okay? To guide the conclusion and show the expectation, tell the expectation, okay? So this is what the key elements, okay? It's very simple, logically makes perfect sense, okay? You think about how you want, how you expect a paper from others. That is what you should do for your own paper, okay? These are key elements, okay? So then what's the next after introduction, right? Ready introduction, next one, okay, is going to be, okay, is going to be results and discussion. I think this is probably more straightforward once you have a lot of experiment results, but technically in reality, facing challenge, because especially when you have done a lot of experiments, right? You want to organize in a way that you can write. Sometimes you want to put a figure here or there, you cannot determine, right? So I will say, okay, I will say, start from subheadings, okay? Very often, always do that, okay? And list, okay, list each segment, each session, okay? Start from sample preparation to characterization to physical chemical characterization, right? To testing, right? And to mechanistic understanding, right? So for example, I give a very simple example. So you can use subheadings to organize your results, right? From synthesis, okay, you describe how you synthesize this work. You are going to have a few control experiments by changing the temperature, the time, the pressure, right? The milling time, the heating time, something like this, right? So by analyzing, organizing your data, you basically, you can write them in a way you describe your experiment, your synthesis, right? And then with your sample, you are going to look them, analyze them using a microscopic image, right? Using spectroscopy techniques, right? So using physical chemical testing, right? Conductivity, density, porosity, toughness, right? All these properties, right? So you are going to analyze the results, right? From physics to chemical, or from chemical to physical property, to fully describe the properties of your material, right? Of course, sometimes biological properties, right? And then you are going to describe their performance, right? In terms of, for a particular application, for example, you are going to use it for an LED, right? You are going to show this night emitting efficiency, right? And then in different, and this will come correlated to the synthesis condition. For example, you are changing the composition by doping 1%, 2%, 10%, right? By changing the thickness, right? By changing the entire composition or crystal structure, right? So when you talk about performance, you are going to talk about different control experiment, different samples, right? In a way to organize, to correlate sample composition and structure to their physical property, right? Sometimes you are going to have another section, probably more often for device application, because in the real world, we want to mention a few practical properties. For example, stability, right? For a lot of device, we will care about lifetime stability, right? So you can have subheadings to really test stability performance on the temperature, high temperature, low temperature, right? On the high pressure, low pressure, on the harsh condition like bending, stretching, right? So this is also a section you can add. And in the end, you want to combine fundamental understanding in terms of the mechanics, right? Using modeling, DFT calculation, to understand the atomic skills of reasons, right? Why your materials perform so well, why your material is so unique, right? So I apologize. I just use a material as an example. Yeah, might be not very suitable for people who are doing, for example, computer science, right? Electrical engineering. Yeah, but I think the philosophy is the same. Okay, you want to make this happen, right? You want to fully illustrate the morphology, structure, composition, or architecture, right? You want to talk about the performance of property, right? Real world application, right? And then understand the mechanism, the design principles. So these few elements or structure, this structure will help you to organize your results and discussion. Okay, result and discussion. Okay, so some journals they have result and the discussion in separate section, but more often they are bundled together. Okay, so you hear about results and then discuss. Okay, discuss them. Okay, in different angles. How good it is, how bad it is, compared with state of art, and why it is, and what's the reason, right? So combine results and discussion. This is very often. Okay, so I think for my experience, writing this section is probably more straightforward. Okay, it's a more logical organization of the results. Okay, that's why I said, okay, writing is a process of training. Okay, in terms of writing your language, your grammar, your words, right? It's more about thinking. Okay, thinking training. Okay, training your mind. Okay, so this is resulting discussion, and then with that you are going to definitely conclude, right? Conclude. So in the conclusion, I know at least many of my students, okay, they maybe just copy a few sentences from results and then from introduction, the latter section of introduction, and then we organize them into a conclusion. Okay, I also see a lot of paper, even they are published. Okay, they write maybe 3-4 paragraphs describing again, repeat their results in many different aspects and then a lot of details. So I would say this is not the best way. Okay, the conclusion should be conclusion. Okay, highlighting a few key results again in different language. Okay, in a way to do that in a way of high level. Okay, high level analysis. As I said, it's high level. You don't have to be very specific, like 5% or 10% or 10 times. Okay, you can highlight them. Okay, but using high level. Okay, you can add a few detailed results, but not too much. Okay, not too much. Okay, after going through, review your entire manuscript, no one is interested in read your results again and again. Okay, just highlight and upgrade results to a high level. Okay, and very importantly, or more importantly, you should indicate very clearly the significance of your work. Okay, so this is the last opportunity, okay, for you to make the readers to realize, okay, the importance of your work. Okay, for example, if, okay, once we achieve this result, what can we do next? What can we do, okay, to help the field? And what the field can benefit from our work, right? So what is the next, starting from this? Okay, so this is something we can say in the conclusion part. Okay, so again, it concludes, okay, it should conclude most critical results, but do not just repeat, okay, the results you already did in the discussion, okay, in your last part of introduction. Is upgrading, it's an extension of the importance of the significance of your work. Okay, so this is how we should do for conclusion. Okay, so technical session basically done. Okay, basically done. There's some other sections we also need to think about. Okay, so experiments is description. Okay, it's just about step-by-step description of your experiment, the methods, the materials, the characterization, right? And often you use subheadings to guide the description of your methods, starting from materials, right? And so you use maybe 20 or 10 different materials. Okay, you want to provide information on where you buy them, what is great, right? How you treat them, right? Do you do any purification before you use or not, right? And then your basic methods, how you mix, right? How you heat, right? What kind of instrument you use to characterize the physical chemical properties, right? Using microscopes, right? You use spectroscopy, right? You use different equipment, right? And the method of your calculation, right? How you calculate the conductivity, right? How you calculate the quantum efficiency, right? And how you perform your density function theory calculation, right? More the software package, right? How you do that. So this is something we should fully release the details. So sometimes the experimental section is required to be placed in main text after your conclusion, and sometimes and very often the experimental details are provided in supporting information. So you want to check the guidance for authors for the specific journal you have picked to submit your paper to make sure you are doing the right way. Okay, sometimes it matters for your citation, right? Because you write your experimental section in your main text, you are going to add the citation in your experiment methods, right? But if it is in the supporting information, you are going to start from a new numbering of your citation. Okay, so this matters. So you need to read your guidance, author guidance for the journal you are going to submit to determine. Okay, so acknowledgement. Okay, so it's also important, especially as a good collaborator. Okay, as a good collaborator, as a good colleague, right? So you want to acknowledge briefly, okay, and naming those people who help your discussion, even though they do not provide any single figure or single results for your paper, but they help you to shape your thinking, right? To help you to design your experiment, right? To help you to have inspired you to generate ideas, right? So those people, you should acknowledge them, okay? So sometimes people provide you free samples, right? Or so they don't care about the authorship, but you should appreciate them, right? So to provide this acknowledgement information, okay? And the funding agency, of course, okay? For some instrument that we use as a facility, the facility provides a lot of support to you, right? So you want to acknowledge the facility. For example, 903 in our campus, right? If you're doing materials, we always, if you use them equipment, although we pay hourly fee, right? PIs pay a lot of money, right? Sometimes $50 per hour, but it's still considered to be cheap, right? Otherwise, you cannot do that. You cannot buy, for me, I cannot afford to buying a CM equipment, right? We pay $50 per hour. We do the experiment, right? So we need to acknowledge them. Of course, the funding agency that fund the student, fund us, we should acknowledge, right? So disclose some financial interest. Okay, this also sometimes we need to put that in the acknowledgement. Sometimes we have a separate section, call it a conflict of interest. We can put that in a separate section, but sometimes they are just bundled together in the acknowledgement. Okay, so again, the most important thing is to acknowledge your collaborators, acknowledge those people who helped you to develop your experiments, even they do not provide any single data, any single sample, okay? So that is also important, to be a good colleague, to be a good collaborator, okay? That is important, okay, that's important. Okay, reference, I think this is reference, okay? So we need to cite smartly, okay? We need to cite correctly, okay? We need to respect the field, because think about your paper is very likely to go to the reviewers who are the most, okay, important people in this field, who have already published papers in this field, okay? You want to cite, definitely, as we said in the introduction, you want to recognize and acknowledge those people who contributed to the field. So you have to cite them, okay? Otherwise, they probably, okay, they might be pissed off. It's very likely, due to the simple reason, they give you harsh words to your comment if you don't cite them, okay? So be a good citizen in this field, okay? So you want to realize, you understand the field. This is also a testimony for your knowledge in the field. Because if you don't even know the most important work in this field, okay, how the readers, how your viewers will trust you, right? This is also a testimony of your knowledge in the field. So you want to build, okay, you want to cite previous work, previous important work, okay, to show your acknowledgement, to show your appreciation for their contribution to the field. Okay, so especially those information that are not considered as common knowledge. Okay, so also your previous work you need to you can cite. Okay, definitely you need to cite. Okay, to let people realize you have done a lot of work. Okay, so you want to quote a sentence. Okay, also we try to not do that. We try to avoid that. So in principle, more than 3 words together. Okay. More than 3 words together, you are picking, you are selecting from a reference you should quote. Okay, so in other words, I would suggest you to avoid, okay, to have 3 okay connected words in the same sentence to be cited from another work. Okay, if you write it in a different context, that might be fine. If you happen to write the exact same sentence as others, that can happen, but probably not often. Okay, probably happen in experimental section, but not in results and discussion session. Okay, try to avoid that. Okay, try to avoid that. So, and there's another thing in the format of reference, right? So don't do the reference to the end before you decide to submit. So always check the journal, and they have the requirements for you to follow their guidance. So after you are almost done with your result discussion, and try to use different maybe software, I would say you can use EndNote, right, to organize your journal or your citation, so that anytime when you want to change, and that means you want to add new citations, you want to delete citations, you want to change the location of paragraph, which includes different references, right? So you use this reference also tools or software, and they can automatically update in the format you are setting. Okay, so the format is important. Okay, so follow format. I think that's pretty much what you want to do for a manuscript. And the next is basically polish, right? Polish your figures, polish the result, your illustrations, right? Because figures is very important, very important. You want to take care of the font size, your clarity, your consistency, right? You don't want to use blue color in the first figure and the red color in the second figure, right? You don't want to use font size 10 in the first figure and font size 20 in the second figure, right? So you want to make sure you arrange them in good order, in good shape, in good contrast, right? You put them very clear, right? Consistent in the font size, in the style, right? So make sure they're easy to read, easy to catch, right? Don't overlap lines, right? Don't use too many insets, right? So this are something you should be careful. For illustration, right? Figures and artwork, don't use very high contrast, sharp contrast, right? Otherwise, it's not going to make the reader feel comfortable, right? But don't use any blur images, right? Don't use, particularly don't copy an artwork from literature, okay? Even you feel this is good, you want to redraw them, okay? You want to use your own input to redesign any artwork, okay? Never, okay, copy any artwork from literature, okay? From website, okay? So we want to make sure, okay, we need to follow the basic ethics rule, right? We want to be scientifically accurate as well as artistically attractive, okay? Make nice figures, okay? So then the next step, with the good format, with the good content, right? And then with the very beautiful, right, accurate, attractive figures, right? And then you are probably pretty much done with your manuscript or draft, okay? So then the next step is send to your advisor, right? and maybe your advisor is super busy, right? Give you maybe a few weeks, right? Sometimes you're lucky, right? You send you feedback, and then comments, revisions, right? You do that, maybe a few rounds, right? So the revision process might last longer than your manuscript preparation step, right? This happens, right? So maybe your revision journey can be very long, from version 1, 5, 10, 15. As I said, sometimes I did more than 30 times of revision, okay? And that process can last 1 year. But this is the reason we are doing this. We're learning, okay? It's thinking, it's organization, right? It's the development of your thoughts, of your ideas, right? So this is very important. We need to really be careful and appreciate the long journey of writing, developing manuscripts, and revising. Okay, and then maybe after, if you are lucky, after 10 versions, your advisor said, yes, we're going to submit it. Okay, and then you have the chance. Okay, maybe sometimes advisors give you authority to submit. Sometimes advisor, your PI will do it for you. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so the next, okay, submit and reviewing. Okay, and there's another long waiting process. Can be 3 weeks if you're lucky. Okay, it can be 3 months. Okay, you are not very lucky, right? Can be 4 months. You are very unlucky, right? Anyway, someday you will receive, okay, your email, your advisor, your PI forward you a message. Okay, comments comes. Okay, right? So you need to revise if you are lucky. If you are not lucky, it's a decline letter, right? But no matter, okay, what do you get? Okay, no matter how many comments you get, okay, how harsh the language it is, okay, be professional. Don't worry, okay, it is about your work. It's not a personal attack. I know sometimes the reviewers cannot be very professional. Just ignore that, okay? Be professional on your side, okay? Don't be angry. Don't be pissed off, okay? At least don't show that in your rebuttal letter, okay? So it happens, okay? For many of my papers, for example, I received more than 30 comments from one single reviewer for one paper, and then there are 3 reviewers doing the same thing, okay? Or sometimes for small paper, I have to write 30, 40 pages of rebuttal letter. This happens, right? So again, I will say, if you can handle these harsh words very, very gently, very professionally, okay, it's also a learning process. It's a growing process of yourself. Okay, later on, later on when you handle all your own business, okay, you can behave, okay, very stably, okay, very professionally, okay. Don't be irritated by harsh comments, okay. Again, it's about your work, okay. Maybe your advisors are more actually irritated than you, okay, but look at how your advisor reflect, right? So don't worry, okay, don't worry. So you can rebuttal, okay, always you rebuttal in different ways. You can use differential data, you can do more experiment to further support, provides more stronger data to support, to strengthen your manuscript. So I would suggest that if you have a chance to run more experiment, do more experiment. If you really have no way to do experiment to get new results, then you use literature data, okay? Don't try to escape, try to hide, try to avoid answer in the opposite, in the positive direction, okay? Don't hide anything, okay? Don't escape, okay? Reviewers will appreciate your effort. We appreciate your consistency, right? If you just say, oh, this is not important, okay? We'll see, this doesn't matter, okay? Or see, we don't want to do that. We will save this for future research. If it is really a new direction, you can see that. But in most of cases, I would strongly suggest you, okay, to face the problem, to just put more effort to make your data, to make your manuscript stronger, okay, stronger and more solid, okay. So to solve the problem, okay, in a positive way, don't escape, don't avoid, okay. So sometimes we do have to fight, okay, we do have to fight if the reviews are not really makes no sense and the editors are really making no sense, okay. So actually this is a journey for myself. okay, my first paper published in my own independent lab, okay, suffered for an entire year, okay. After 3 rounds of reviews, and after the second round review, I feel it should be accepted, but the editor turned it down, okay. I feel it is incorrect, okay. I write a few emails and fight back, okay. And then I did different ways, and then this is just one letter I sent to the editor office, okay. I see the blah, 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 blah. Your journal is really a good journal. It's real, well-recognized journal. But however, okay, I strongly feel the whole review process for my manuscript is not, okay, is not consistent in other papers due to some reasons I highlighted, I pointed out using a lot of evidence. I fight back, okay? So I think the judgment in our work is incorrect, okay? So this is based on my own evaluation. Okay, by checking a lot of papers published in this journal, okay, I think my work, our work is really, okay, is really good, okay, and they deserve to be published here. So we spend a lot of time to fight, okay. In the end, okay, the editor office, okay, editorial office changed to a new editor, and then the paper got accepted after the 3rd round of review, okay. So it happens, okay, if you really fail, you are not treated fairly, okay? You can fight back. But again, okay, don't see that, okay, this review sucks, right? And this journal and this review comments that makes no sense. Using evidence, okay, to compare these examples, okay, why you think your review comments does not make sense, right? Why you think it is unfair to you, okay? Show evidence, using evidence to support your argument, and let them realize they do, okay, need to reconsider your work, okay? So when you fight, again, keep professional, okay? Keep professional. Don't be irritated, okay? Be polite, okay? Be mild, be gentle, okay? And the last one, okay? In the end, after a few rounds of revision, okay, after long-term experiments and writing the paper and the revision, you will finally receive a letter, okay? Congratulations, Mr. Blah blah. Okay, we are pleased to let you know at this moment we're happy to accept your manuscript with the title or with the ID. Okay, blah blah. Without any further changes. Okay, our editor office will contact you for editing, for proofreading, whatever. Okay, then it's going to be smooth. It's going to be other. Revision process by the formatting, by the better resolution of figures. Yeah, it lasts maybe around 2 or 3 months until your paper is going to be published online to the readers. Okay, so this is the entire process of publishing paper. Okay, so then you get well done. Okay, good job. Okay, so that's all. Okay, so that's what I want to share with you guys, and I hope, yeah, this can be useful, can be helpful for you to better plan your experiments, plan your manuscripts, and better handle your paper submission process. Okay, so this is a long journey, and this is the most important learning process. Okay, I would say experiment is 1. Okay, but writing is 2. Okay, 2 is more important than 1. Okay. So the writing process is a very long process of learning. Okay, it's a learning journey. Okay, help you to develop a lot of important skills and knowledge. All right. Okay, so that's the last talk, and I hope it can be useful for your research, for your writing, for your preparation. Okay, so I think we don't have much time. Maybe we have 1 or 2 minutes to take some questions. But let me conclude here and end my sharing here. Okay, thank you guys.